I'm Mel,
And I'm Andrea.
and we've been asking ourselves, WTF? Where's the fun?
So, welcome to our podcast for heart-led business leaders, entrepreneurs, and CEOs ready for more. More impact, more wealth, more joy, and more magic, all while having even more fun than ever before.
As co-founders of FunX, we believe that life and business is way more fulfilling when you're following the fun.
So we're flipping the script on success, giving you permission to create from a whole new paradigm where you can have a lasting impact while nurturing your well-being and having a freaking blast along the way.
So join us each week for engaging solo episodes
and real conversations with experts who are embodying this new paradigm of leadership, spiritual wealth, business growth, and of course, fun.
If you're ready to reignite your spark, make bold moves, and lead from a whole new energy,
let's jump in and have some fun.
We just recorded such a fun podcast with Jen Cassetta.
So Jen is a nationally recognized speaker, high-performance coach, and self-defense expert. She has worked with tens of thousands of professional women around the country to help them unleash their inner badass. Equipped with her third-degree black belt, master's degree in nutrition, health and coaching certification, she's developed programming that helps women feel strong, safe, and powerful from the streets to the boardroom. So you're not going to want to miss this.
Welcome back to WTF. Where's the fun? I'm Mel.
And I'm Andrea.
And today is such a special day. We have Jen Cassetta with us.
Ooh, welcome, Jen.
Thank you so much, Andrea Mel. Excited for this conversation.
Yes. We were just saying we're going to hit record because I feel like there's so much magic in even just us getting to know each other. Amy, both of our speaking agents, she was like, you need to, might have been Matt. Either way, Loud Management, they're like, let's connect the two of you. And I feel like there's so many, I think, similarities and also just like, I think this conversation is going to be magic. So we're so excited for you to be here.
Thank you. It's going to be fun.
That's the intention anyways.
So let's start with your book.
Sure.
It's right behind you in case nobody's watching, The Art of Badassery. And tell us more about your book.
Sure thing. So The Art of Badassery, Unleash Your Mojo with Wisdom of the Dojo. It came out in I think August 2022, but really came from, I would say, 22 years of life, of specifically martial arts training. And it's a framework. And I use martial arts as a metaphor. So we walk from white belt to black belt in badassery. Each chapter represents a different belt level. So white, yellow, orange, green, blue, red, with the goal of black belt and beyond. Each chapter has a test, a belt test at the end. So it's like an interactive thing you get to do in order to move up to the next level. It's really fun. It's fun. And it was fun to write, etc. But it really came, like I said, from keynotes that I started back in probably 2016, 17, and then eventually wrote the book from that.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming then that you have done like martial arts is your jam.
You're a black belt, are you not?
I am a third-degree black belt in a martial art called Hapkido.
Okay. We will not get on your bad side.
And I'm slightly embarrassed to tell you, I actually got kicked out of karate after about probably a week because both me and my sisters, my whole family got kicked out of karate. And
I've never heard this story.
I've never heard of anyone getting kicked out of.
And it was because we were doing this, we did a couple exercises and I actually enjoyed it because they always paired me with like the bigger guys and I always liked that. But then why we got kicked out is we kept laughing when we weren't supposed to be laughing. Like my family doesn't know how to
Act responsibly.
like not, like if there's an intense situation, usually we laugh.
The family that'll laugh at a funeral.
Totally. It's right. Very sense of humor. And we had to like have someone walk across like our stomachs and like hold it. And he just couldn't stop laughing to the point where they're like, I don't think karate is for you. And we basically never went back after that.
Okay, but hang on. You were a police detective and you would laugh all the time doing
So
that?
that well, that somehow I figured it out. I think my 10-year-old self wasn't really meant to do karate. Alright, Ernst, I don't know if my 30-year-old self was meant
Yes.
to do policing.
Yes.
Right, right. Oh, that's hilarious. Yes, it could be very serious. Maybe not so fun for a lot of people, martial arts. But there's so much wisdom. There's so much, it's truly, I call it a holistic system. It's mind, body, spirit. You're getting physically stronger, you're getting mentally stronger, you're getting spiritually more grounded, more on purpose than ever before. I was hooked immediately. And again, I stepped into the first dojo in 2000 in New York City, and I was like hooked. Loved it.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of weird. Like people thought I was in a cult. Like, after like the fifth, sixth year, I did it for 10 years in the same dojo before moving to Los Angeles. But I was really like really involved.
And what got you in the door? Like,
Mm.
was there a specific reason?
Yes. My late father, um, who was a NYPD detective, which I shared earlier, and went into real estate when I was little, so I didn't know that part of him, but what he did do later on in life was start martial arts, and he probably started in his early 50s all the way through until he passed away at 78, which was a whole other story of, it was like a shock to everybody because he was such a healthy guy. But essentially, he had been involved in it for so long. When I was little, I was like, "I don't want that's dorky. I don't wanna do that," what my dad does. But when I was living in New York by myself, just one day riding the subway, it hit me. I was like, I would like to check this out. Really, you're getting your exercise, and I'm learning to protect myself and be more safe at the same time. How bad could it be?"
Yeah.
And like I said, I threw my first punch, and I was like, "Whoop, love it. Sign me up."
So good.
You're, like, making me wanna try it.
See?
Yeah.
I feel like you would enjoy it.
I would thrive at it.
You probably would.
Yeah. I used to always love getting in fights in hockey, so I probably would love it.
Well, this is a little bit more disciplined, and it's not necessarily
Yeah, I would
what
have
you're
to go
thinking.
I would have to get a 2-minute timeout after that to, like, check myself.
Yes. Yeah. It's more I actually just wrote a post about this on LinkedIn because of, and I hope this is okay talking about this, but, Mark Zuckerberg, celebrating more aggression in the workplace. And when he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, started talking about his martial arts practice and how it really got him in touch with his like masculinity because his boys just beat each other up. And I was like, okay, so he missed the lesson
Yeah.
where martial arts is really not about aggression. It's about peace and the way and deflection and self-empowerment. I mean, there are so many. He like missed the mark by all of it.
Yeah, that's like the complete opposite of what it's actually about.
But honestly, there's this MMA trend, mixed martial arts that is more of a sport than it is the martial art. And I think that's what people see, they see on TV.
It's a
They-
show.
It's a show and they think that's what it is and it's not.
Yeah.
But this is so, I think, uh, like, important, and I think there's so many different ways that we can learn these things, but I think, like, resilience, the discipline,
Yeah.
I think connection with self. Looking back now, I'm like, I actually probably should have stayed there because I really could have used all of that back then. But it is can be challenging because
Yeah.
that can bring up stuff
Yeah.
for you as you're doing it. Like, yeah, that would take courage
Mhm.
to go through. I can only imagine going to third degree black belt with it.
Yeah. Yes, and well, you kinda hit the nail on the head because white belt or the chapter of white belt in my book is all about resilience, and it's called Embrace the Suck. Stepping onto the mat for the first time, having to bow to all these people, getting hit for the first time, like, all of these things that are a metaphor for life, like
Yeah.
doing uncomfortable things, getting knocked down. We all we're never going to get through life without getting knocked down. Like that's just a fact. So the sooner that we can accept that as a fact, the sooner we can move on to creating more fun, more joy, more of the life that we want.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love that.
Today's episode of WTF Where's the Fun is sponsored by The Fun Experience, a curated mastermind for established business owners, entrepreneurs, and CEOs ready for more. More magic, more joy, more wealth, and more fun than ever before. So if you're ready for a peer-to-peer mastermind that's helping you to embody more leadership, more impact, and make bold moves, The Fun Experience is where it's at.
Now, I know you have a story about, was it 2022?
Your word. Your
Oh,
word for
Yeah.
2022.
yes, yes. So every year, I'm sure a lot of you out there do this already, but I pick a word for the year. 2020 was actually community, which I still laugh at because 3 months into this year, we're like isolated, I'm like, that's funny, universe.
And now this is where the martial arts come thing.
Right. Yeah. So, so there was just like a whole a series of years before 2022 where I just kept getting knocked down in life. Whether it be personally or professionally, everything from, navigating, am I going to have a child or not, having miscarriages, losing on like that was a few years which I'm finally on the other side of, and I'm so happy to be here, of just really intense, hard things,
Yeah.
which also was a strain on my marriage, which then we had to work through. And then, I'm coming out of all that and working on my speaking career and like traveling all over the place. And then we have COVID and then we shut down and my business is like gone to zero. And then I have to build that back up. So it was just like this constant heaviness. I was not having enough fun. So in 2022, I said, my intention, my word of the year is going to be fun. And sure enough, with that intention, right, when we set an intention like that, we make different choices. And and I'm using the word choice intentionally instead of decide. I always like to bring this up. The Latin root word, the Latin word for decide really means to kill off. So deciding things is usually choosing, am I going to do this or do this? But choice is really like, I am going to choose fun. I am going to choose things that may not even exist as options right now.
Yeah.
So I went looking for fun. So I was like, what do I like? What lights me up? And I was like, music. I like to go to concerts. So I remember seeing that Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks were coming to town, and I was like, okay, I'm going. No one could go with me. I couldn't find a soul to go with me. My Pilates instructor, I'm like, I will pay you to come with me. We traded. She gave me extra sessions, and I paid for her to go to the concert with me.
Hey, wait, wait.
And then there was, like, this magic that happened, and it was part of like, I do a vision board every year, which again, I'm sure most of you do out there, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not. Uh,
Most likely.
like, why am I
100%.
assuming that? Shucks. Anyway, I had this picture because I said, "What's fun to me? Travel." So music, travel, love to travel. Where do I wanna go? I love going to Italy. Okay, let's say Italy. But let's get more specific. What else? How can I make that even more specific? And I was like, I love to hike." Well, I've heard about the Dolomites, hiking in the Dolomites. That would be cool. So I put a picture of the Dolomites on my vision board. This is like a long story that I'm gonna make it real short. I meet this woman. I speak on her kind of like a podcast for her community. I noticed that she has a hiking trip to the Dolomites like 3 months later. Oh, and I forgot to mention I had a hip replacement that year too. So
Oh,
the
man.
prior year. So again, not fun. And I'm thinking like, wow, it's sold out. So too bad. I guess I can't go on her trip this year, but maybe sometime in the future. But there was like this nagging, right? That just maybe reach out and ask her, about it a little more. So I did, and she said, "Well, maybe we can get you in, even though it's sold out." And then all of the things start happening. how could I possibly do this? Why could I afford I can't afford this. My husband's out of work right now. All the reasons I should not do this thing. And sure enough, before she even got back to me, I booked my flights on points. I got so sick. And it was 1 year anniversary from my hip replacement surgery that I hiked 40 miles in the Alps, in the Italian Alps. So that was so fun. That lit me up so much. Um, that ever since setting that intentional word, I've really carried it through as much as I can through my work, through my career, through personal life, etc.
Now, I have one question. When you were hiking and you were having fun,
Yeah.
did things come through for you that otherwise you think wouldn't come through?
I'm sure
Yeah.
anytime I'm out in nature,
Yeah.
and relaxed, I get intuitive downloads, I get thoughts, you get like, oh, call that person or think,
Yeah.
you think of someone or you have an idea for your next book or whatever it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hiking in those mountains at the time, I can't remember which thoughts came to me, but just taking in the beauty, I
Yeah.
mean, was amazing.
It's a whole there's so many things here because I think what you're saying, it's like we set the intention
Yeah.
and then the opportunity comes up
Right.
and then we're like
Oh,
not doing that and then it's like the universe is like what the hell? You say you want this, here it is, and now you're like, "No, thanks."
I have chills because it happened again with Italy.
It happened with us with Italy too.
really?
Yes.
It was like a couple years ago. It was like the beginning of the year and we were out on a walk and we were casually. We always play this game called Wouldn't It Be Wild If? Okay, I like this little game we play on walks. And we were playing it, and then Andy's like, "Wouldn't it be wild if we went to Italy this year?" And I was like, "That would be wild." Oh, no word of a lie, a week later, one of our neighbors was like, it's their second marriage. They're like, "We're getting married in Italy because the first ones weren't right. The second one has to work." And they're like, "You guys are coming with us. You guys are family." And I was like, "You literally just asked for this."
And then we're like, I don't know,
Yeah.
should we? It's like it's an hassle. It's yeah, all the things I literally just said, but then it's like, okay, we can't not do it. Like that would just be silly.
And then the wild part is we're flying out of Toronto and we get a message from good friends of ours. We were at their wedding, they were at our wedding, but life happened. We hadn't seen them in 5 years. They were flying out of Calgary to Rome. They landed an hour ahead of us. We met at the Trevi Fountain and had dinner.
Oh,
It was like
Magical.
you can't write that stuff.
No,
Yeah.
you cannot.
And we'll have those memories with them
yeah.
forever.
Yes, for sure. So the I've always wanted to do retreats, host retreats, um, specifically for women, and specifically I wanted to do one in Montauk, New York, which is my fun place. It's like my favorite place, probably in the world. So 15 years ago, I picked the hotel I was going to do it, all of it. I chickened out.
Yeah.
Finally, last year, I was like, what am I waiting for? Why not? So I pulled the trigger, did it. The right people showed up. And as I'm sitting there at the bar having dinner the night before everyone was to arrive, another guy walks in. We start chatting. Next thing I know, he owns a villa in Tuscany
He's inviting everyone over.
and says, you should do your next retreat there. Now, the wild part is I had made these bios for everybody. And in my bio, I said, and my dream is to host the next retreat in it, or a retreat, not even the next one out there in the future in Italy.
Mm.
And here is the opportunity. The universe is like, here you go. So again, I couldn't say no. It kept nagging at me. And I pulled the trigger. I'm going end of April this year. I still have 3 rooms left if you guys wanna come.
Don't you dare tempt us. What are the dates?
April 28th to May.
Interesting. What put us on the maybe list. Put us on a probably.
See, right?
Yeah. Yes. Stuff like that. When you travel, you get into this different energy, this like
Yes.
wouldn't it be wild? And like the possibility energy. And if you lean into that, things happen to you that otherwise would never happen.
Agreed. 100%. You cannot just sit in your home and wish things think that things happen like that.
No, no.
You have to
It's
interact.
so true. And I also think when we travel, we're also more open.
Yeah.
We're also not in our head as much. We're more like not even just open to possibilities, but even like new conversations. We're open to all different things, I think. And then we're tapped in and then I think magic things happen.
That's when the fun really begins.
Yeah. But you said another thing about your year of fun that I think is also important. It's like you prioritize that. It's like you actually got
Yeah.
like that became and I love the whole decide versus choice and it's really about choosing and your intention, but then prioritizing the things that are really important to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I honestly want to encourage people to do that more because again, then I can go dark and be like, because why are we on this floating rock anyway? Like, what is the point of all this? Like, you know, if we're not meant to enjoy it,
Yeah.
what is the point?
What are we doing?
Yes. The amount of times that we still say that sometimes is like, what are we doing? And then it's like, okay, that's usually our sign that we're not having fun.
Yeah.
We're maybe taking ourselves too serious and we're like, let's shift.
We're being too human.
Let's shift the energy a little bit. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And be more energetic beings living a human experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, do you have any things that you do for yourself when you're feeling that way, other than martial arts, probably?
Or is that part of it?
Yeah, when I'm feeling stuck and kind of like, what is the purpose of all this? Yeah. I mean, I mean, lots of different things, I'll say. Like the little things in during the day, even just a work day, for example, I get outside and I walk. And I walk the neighborhood and I do like what I call awe walks, like AWE. Like I'm just in awe of this beautiful tree right now.
Yeah.
Tree is amazing and it probably is so old and right in that palm tree. Look at this palm tree and I literally just like will stop and like stare. Like people probably think I'm nuts, but I just do that and
Yeah.
it totally shifts my state. Um I'm not the type of person I would like to say that I'm that like I just put on music and dance. That's not my vibe. Like I wish
Me
I
either.
could. Yeah. I wish I could be that person.
You can do that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I've found myself doing that here and there, but it's not like my go-to.
Yeah.
If I want to shift my state, sometimes I just pick up weights and start weightlifting because it feels very empowering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But fun specifically, honestly, I call some girlfriends and I'm like, "Do you want to meet me for a margarita or glass of wine?"
Oh yeah.
The answer, we're en route.
To Italy for margarita.
No margaritas in Italy. Aperol spritz or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Limoncello. Yeah. Too much limoncello.
Yes. But I really do. I feed off people's energy and I just love to be around especially women that I call friends.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think this overflows even to and we don't know too much honestly about like even like we know you're a speaker, we know you have a book, but I just like I can feel a genuine excitement about what you do.
Yes.
And that makes it like magnetic.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Um so yes, are you asking what I do?
Yeah. Tell us more. Tell us all the things.
Sure. So I'm just going to do a quick background so it makes more sense. So in 2000 when I started martial arts, I was just a couple years out of college, didn't really know what I was doing, had some other odd jobs, but a year after I started martial arts, I found myself 3 blocks south of the World Trade Center when they fell that day on September 11th. So I was one of those people you see like running in the ash and
Wow.
fighting for my life essentially. And later, hours later, there's a whole story to it. It's in the book. It's in my keynote. It's all over. But essentially, I found the dojo that day, and I felt safe again. So I was out of a job after that. Blah blah blah. I was like, well, I really love doing this. How can I make this more of my career? So I became a personal trainer. Literally, that was like, well, that's what I can think of. and started teaching kickboxing, personal training, started my own business in Lower Manhattan, had these very wealthy clients. I would go to their homes, train them, go back to the dojo, blah, 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 back to the dojo, teach class, right? And that was my life for 10 years. But in between also, I went back knowing that it wasn't just the physical, right? It's more now going internally. So I became a health coach. I went back to school to be for a master's in clinical nutrition. So I had that kind of as part of my business. So 10 years of that went. Then for the last 15 years now, I moved to Los Angeles, um, where then again I started doing more mindset work and personal growth and personal development, infusing that into my work. Finally started, I traveled around the world with some VIP clients, which was really fun, really, really fun. And then um, did some little bits of TV stuff here and there. But what was calling me inside my soul the whole time was to become a public speaker. When I was in my early 20s, I would go to Tony Robbins events and all these other speakers and be like, "Look, hey, I'm standing on the chair doing the whole thing," but also thinking like, if I could have just a sliver of impact on folks like these people can, wow, that would be a really fulfilling way to live my life. So, I was like, how can I become a speaker? Well, I can go to college campuses and teach self-defense. And that's how I started. So I started not just teaching the physical, but then creating keynotes around it and getting on stages and was like, oh, okay, I can make a living doing this. And then started creating more programming for corporate America, women, etc.
That is
And the rest is history. So sorry. And now I'm like a high performance coach. But I would say most of my work is speaking, doing the art of giving the art of badassery as a short or long form program. Um, from there, I do 8-week coaching programs for people that want to go deeper.
yeah.
I have a book. I'm writing another one. I have a podcast that I can't wait to host you two on.
Yeah.
Called The Art of Badassery. So it's multifaceted. As you are as well, right? We're doing all the things.
Yeah. Yeah. And it all sounds so fun. I love it. Yeah.
It is, except the grind work that
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, that
all of-
comes with anything though, right?
I think this is also important because, well, let's even use speaking because I think even a lot of people who are in our network are probably even listening to this is a big thing for them is being more visible, putting themselves out there more. And there's always, I don't say necessarily a price to pay, but there is the other side of it where I don't think people understand
No.
how much effort and energy and work and objection things that
Rejection.
Yeah.
How much do you get rejected? I get rejected all the time.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
You're like, no, I don't ever.
Oh no.
No.
Oh no.
And it's so true. And it's like, and I think that's part of, so how do you deal with the rejection? And that's a fascinating.
I mean, I'm like, I've had to accept it, embrace the suck as part of the journey. And you're going to get more no's in life than yeses.
Yeah.
If I were a salesperson, which technically we're selling our craft, right? Um, even a car salesman, you're going to get more people that walk out and don't buy your product than do. But when you get those yeses, it's like, oh,
Right?
so good. Yeah. And you just, but I do my best not to take it personally.
Yes.
And I just say, it's a no right now. That doesn't mean forever.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the right time. And I've really, so again, I don't know. I could go on and on and on about this stuff, but I don't know really much about you guys, but how woo you get, but
The more woo, the better.
okay, good.
Bring it.
Wherever the line is, we're well
Way gone. And so is our audience.
Good, 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 good. I mean, so I'm just gonna say it. Like I've been doing these deep meditations for a couple years now, and I just feel like I can get into like the quantum field beyond this time and space and just let go. and be like, if that didn't work, there's something better.
Yeah.
I'm attracting the perfect opportunities for me. Oh, that person got in over me. Great for them. Like, it's work,
Yes.
but I'm able to practice it over and over.
Yeah. And a lot of people, like, especially with social media and all this stuff, they don't see that side. But
No,
it is,
it used to like put me to bed. I'd be like, I need a nap. Another rejection. I need a nap. And not even just rejection, but the ghosting that goes on.
oh, yeah.
Even after you have a great communicate, even phone call or Zoom with someone and proposal out and then they ghost you,
Yeah.
that I am still working on not taking personally because
Yeah.
that's really tough. And I don't understand why people do it.
Yeah. I know.
I find and I would say you're definitely further along the journey than I am for the speaking in terms of like I haven't been doing it as long. It's kind of still a new like I've been speaking for like 20 years, but not I would say
Traveling the world.
I wouldn't
speaking.
I wouldn't say necessarily professionally, like I did it in policing and all those things. But what I've found is it also like it's very much a spiritual journey speaking because you have to own your story, which means like parts of it that you probably or even like I noticed like energetically there's parts in the story like that we're sharing can even feel a little bit sticky and you got to show up in the energy. So it very much is like a spiritual journey.
Oh yeah. Mind, body, spirit for sure. Because there's the mental aspect, like, you know, focus, perseverance, all of that, grit a little bit, but and the body because you need the physical energy. Like I'm thinking like so I'm 48. I'm like if my speaking career is still taking off and you know and I'm like perimenopausal and feeling these energy dips, I'm like I need to take care of this thing
Yeah.
more than ever. Like obviously it's my background. I know how to do it. I've been doing it, but I feel like I need to level up in order to get through the next 5, 10 years. Assuming I can be blessed enough to have this journey and
Yeah.
this career. So body and like you said, absolutely spiritual journey. The growth of just like having to put yourself out there and feel all of the self-doubt and all of the low self-esteem thoughts and all of that come up and you have to be like, "Well, I'm showing up anyway."
Yes.
It's a lot of work.
Yes.
Yeah, and where I think this is also fascinating, especially from like I think a female perspective, is there's just different I don't even say challenges. There's just different factors than other people would have to, like our hormones. And like for me, I love a good sleep. Like I like my rest. I like eating well. So there is, and I think this like translates just to depending on the different industries and business anyways. But I really do think it's an energy game and how you manage your energy.
Completely. Everything is energy. Everything.
Hmm. I have a. I'm going to switch gears for a second. Right now, for 2025, what are you finding fun in business and in personal?
Can I be honest?
I would expect nothing less.
Okay, good. Because it's been a shit start to the year.
You know, the amount of people who have said this to us is too many. Okay.
Yeah. Well, she's also in LA. So
Oh
like
yeah,
that's a
yeah, yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to like go there, but like even like to experience 9/11, oh yeah, close. And then to experience LA, like, ooh, being that close,
Mhm.
like that is a lot.
It's a lot of like, yeah, the first one obviously was much more traumatic.
Yeah.
But even sitting from my living room, I can see the smoke pummeling up through the sky. And sorry, what was super traumatic was I was at a speaking event on January 7th in Florida, flew into the flames. So I don't, and 100-mile-an-hour winds. I don't know what made Delta or I don't know why we were landing at LAX that night, but 100-mile-an-hour winds. You're looking at an inferno. The cabin smells of smoke.
Right.
I'm thinking again, like that's so my trauma response was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna die again. Here goes. Death grip on the girl next to me. She was like, "Do you want to hold my hand?" I'm like, "S-" shout out to 14E. Oh, like it was all over. Yes, it was all over again. So then the next day, so I finally get home like 1 o'clock in the morning, and now I'm like looking around my apartment, like, what do I need to pack?
Yeah.
What am I taking with me? I got my cats. My husband was in Washington, so he wasn't even home. I'm like, I don't know, my passport. Okay. Anyway, the next day I'm sitting there watching the smoke billowing. It's like a mile, 2 miles most, majority of this uh fires and smoke. Like, this is not fun. So anyway, sorry, not to be a downer.
So you've had
But I think
horrible start to the year.
and I think that's important because we're like, yeah, this is like 2025. And then
Yeah.
like I think most of us in humanity are like, that's not, and technically like the new, like as we're recording this, new moon, new year technically is
Yeah.
kind of today.
Yep.
Administration in the US.
Everything is happening. Yeah. Like there's a lot of change going on.
Yeah.
Which I think you have to be resilient with, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to let the art of badassery come out.
You have to be. Absolutely. My word of this year is upgrade. So lots of things are getting an upgrade. And I just want to, I don't know, just level up in all areas of my life. Health,
Yeah.
wealth, career, what I offer, like my offerings especially, my podcast. I just want to be more of what I intend to do, and hopefully help people around, along the way, because I do see, again, here in the States, a lot of people are struggling right now.
Yeah.
So if I can help them be more resilient and feel, which is my mission, more strong, safe, and powerful from the streets to the boardroom and the inside out, then I've done my job in this lifetime.
Yes.
So what are different ways people can work with you? So we have a pretty good idea, but what would be, and we'll include links and stuff where they can go in the show notes, but what would be like a good place for people listening to start?
To get the book, I would say, is like the easiest, lowest cost, no brainer. The Art of Badassery on Amazon or wherever you want to get your books. Um, and then there's the 8-week group coaching program. The thing is, I just started it this week, so I probably won't be offering it again until 6 months from now. There's Italy if you want to come along for that.
Yeah. There only might be one spot left.
They're like, I'm gonna skip the book. I'm gonna go right to Italy.
Yeah, yeah. There's like easy ways to work with me, and then there's more complex but more rewarding.
Yes, yes.
And obviously, like you, Andrea and Mel. Do you speak, Mel, too? Do you go around speaking?
I am the biggest cheerleader for any speaker. I'm the girl behind the scenes.
Got it. Well, hopefully, Andrea and I can share a stage one day.
We has let's put that as an intention.
In Italy.
Oh. I did apply randomly for Andy to speak. I did this last year. I was like, you're gonna speak in Italy at the cheese conference. Oh my God. I was like, if you speak at the cheese conference, I know we've made it.
Okay, that might have to go on my vision board.
Well, that's where we'll speak together.
Yes. Cheese conference? That is it?
Yeah. And you know it's good cheese.
Yeah.
Honestly, if it's around the time of my retreat, I'm just going to go.
I hope so. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for being on our podcast.
I have one last question.
Oh, yeah.
So if you could leave our listeners from your heart to their heart, just one message, what would it be?
Don't let the bastards grind you down.
Boom. Mic drop. Don't let the bastards grind us
That's
down.
just where I'm at right now. Sorry.
I got it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks
So
for
grateful.
everyone for listening.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to WTF. Where's the fun?
We're Andrea and Mel, and we're so excited to be on this journey with you to see how fun it can get.
If today's episode brought a little bit more fun into your world, be sure to subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review.
And remember, life and business is so much better when you're following the fun. So let's have some fun.